I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Oops, the podcast. I'm Francis Ellis, joined as ever by my intrepid co-pilot, co-head pilot, Giulio Gallerati.
Hey there, big fella.
Co-pilot implies some sort of, I don't know, pecking
inferiority.
order here. Yeah, you're not in the. You're not
I
in
don't. Does it? Or is it? Do you do pilots and co-pilots switch off?
So let's put it this
Like
way:
versatile lovers.
I think that the co-pilot. Does not refer to the
Actual pilot.
as his co-pilot.
He's a skipper.
He's the captain,
Oh, got it. Captain and the co-pilot.
and then there's a first mate, right?
Well, yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
don't know.
Well, I appreciate.
First officer,
I
is that what it
appreciate
is?
the clarification.
Is do you have a parent that's a pilot? Oh, that'd be cool, Ryan. Well, here we are. Look at us, back as ever. Lots going on in the world. I was on the road. I've been on the road a lot. And have you ever been to Richmond, Virginia?
Yeah, dude. Remember, I just went for that wedding like a few weeks ago,
Oh, that's right.
and I think we had some overlap with some of our activities. There were two national park sites in the city that I was able to go to. You were at one of them.
I didn't know that was a national park site.
So the Richmond Battlefield National Historical Monument or something, I may have said that wrong. Part of it is right out front of the Civil War Museum that I know
Yes.
that you went to. There's a
Yes.
foundry, I believe.
Yes.
And if you may or may not have noticed, the official national park site banner happens to be hanging right there.
Very
So
cool. Well,
you were
I'm
there,
glad
you didn't even know.
I'm walking in the footsteps of our explorer of national parks sites, Giulio.
But Richmond has a lot of interesting shit there, dude.
Sure does.
Capital of the Confederacy.
It was.
I had no idea of that.
Nor did I.
And the White House of the Confederacy is there.
I did not know that
Yeah.
either.
Jefferson Davis.
Well, it's amazing. You go to the Civil War Museum and I became acutely aware of how much of my historical, studying or whatever has been on World War II
Interesting.
with,
Like as an adult in your pastime, or
I would say that the movies that I've watched,
Mhm.
the books that I've read have focused either on World War II or the Revolutionary War.
right. And I think the Civil War, for me at least, most of my learning about it occurred before an age where I could really contextualize it with history.
I need to
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
You know,
I need to go back and learn more about the Civil War, man.
super interesting, right?
I'm so bummed that I don't know more about it.
Yeah, dude. It's funny too. I got flanked, as they might say in war speech,
Yeah.
by my girlfriend's father, who's a huge Civil War buff, and my dad, who it knows quite a bit about the Civil War as well, which is unsurprising with kind of like the stuff that he teaches and whatever. And they were both hitting me with all these good facts. One of which I think you might find interesting. Apparently, Ulysses Grant's autobiography is considered one of the great American writing works.
I've heard that.
And I think Mark Twain published it or something. Something about it. It's like, and apparently the way that he recounted what had happened, he had some like gift of doing it in a way that made it like super, like whatever, in order and all that shit. And it apparently is amazing.
He's a very underrated president, they say.
And it's crazy.
Ulysses
Interesting.
S. Grant, one of the most underrated presidents. What was so cool for me was to hear about the battle tactics that were used, because even in, the 1800s, you're hearing about strategy on the battlefield that to me is so advanced and so devious,
Right.
in spite of the fact that the weaponry is, in my mind, so simple.
Right. Right.
They're killing each other with bayonets.
Right.
They're pouring gunpowder down these long muskets.
Stuffing it.
There's not a ton of, just compared to how far weaponry has come today with ballistic guided missiles and Tony Stark, everything he did for the world. It's just, to think about. I mean, not only that, there was a piece that said, in terms of the medicine, the way that doctors were treating wounded people. I mean, if you got shot pretty much anywhere in the Civil War, you were in big trouble.
Right.
They didn't know about how to treat infections and stuff.
But apparently, and I saw this in the museum, and I'm sure that this wasn't that big of a step compared to obviously modern medicine, but like somebody figured out some way to treat infections.
Yes.
Did you see this?
This is what I brought up.
It blew my mind.
I truly was following in his footsteps. Look at that.
That really stuck with me too, dude.
Yeah. They said it was like a gunshot to the abdomen or something. All of a sudden, this one guy started treating it with sutures or metal mesh or something. I don't even know what it was. But prior to his implementation of that, it was something like if you got shot in that area, you had an 8% survival rate.
Oh my God.
Because
that's such a low.
Because your lungs would, it would puncture your lungs and you would die and you'd suffocate or whatever.
Jesus.
But he did this thing. He found this new way, and all of a sudden, it was like everyone was making it out of that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, "What the fuck? That's nuts."
It's almost just it's one of those things where it's like if let's say 3 of your brothers had been killed from getting shot in the lung, and then all of a sudden this one doctor came along with this new thing and was like, "Yeah, it's been working great." You'd be like, "What the fuck have you guys been learning at medical
Are you serious?
school all these years?"
That's like a fear of mine, sort of, dude. Like somebody dying from something, and then like a year later, it being a thing that you easily can survive.
Well, I think a lot about, we look back on medicine of 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and we think, my God, how could they have been so far behind? And then we look now at the technology, MRIs,
Right,
in
dude, it's
50
crazy.
years, are medical students going to look at MRIs and CAT scans and the imagery or whatever it is that we're doing, or the way that we treat cancer as, boy, they were so stupid.
I know.
How could they not have figured this out? What we know now, that using, cat piss is just the perfect cure-all for cancer. Why weren't they even trying cat piss? It's going to be something like that.
Something insane.
It's going to be something crazy.
100%.
Anyway, that's so Richmond was cool. I from a historical perspective, I will say this too. I have to say that the podcast is fundamentally changing my experience on the road.
In what capacity?
Well, we have such an amazingly engaged audience, and I love the people, and you and I interact, often. We're pretty available because our podcast is not so huge as to make it impossible for us to, even try to respond to people. But there, and I also would say that our audience is cool. It's working people. It's co-ed. It's people who have their lives together for a large part.
Right. And it's a good vibe too, dude. Like I've gotten a few messages from people being like, I'm coming to the live show alone. I don't really have anyone to come with me, and they'll be like, but I have a feeling it's going to be like a pretty welcoming environment. I think they're right.
Absolutely.
Which is cool.
Look, if it sounds like I'm bragging, maybe I am, but I really mean this as a compliment to all of you listening out there.
100%.
Because
you guys are nice folks.
you are good people that I would like to hang out with. And I had these 2 lovely gents, Mumper and Sutter, E and
Dude.
Mump. Okay.
That's great.
These 2 guys live in Richmond.
Old boys.
They have really good jobs. These are, one's married, great wife. They came out to the show. They got a babysitter for the kid, and they came to the show, and then we hung out for a drink after, and then they took me golfing the next day at their super sick private golf course. It was as similar a Saturday to what I would have
That's great,
wanted
dude.
to do home as it could possibly have been. They brought me home on the road. What a gift.
Dude,
What a gift.
That's really great. And that is like, I've said this to you before. We talked about this. It's really nice to have, supporters, if you want to call them, quote, fans, who you like.
Well,
not everybody gets that.
I mean, this is my thing. I was so ready to be friends with these guys based on how cool they were that it almost like made them feel uncomfortable. It was almost as if they were like, Jesus, dude, like, we don't know about you yet. Chill
You're like,
out.
what are you up to? And he's like, dude, wait a couple hours to respond to that.
I'm trying to ask for phone numbers too quickly. I'm like, what's your zodiac sign? Do you guys believe in that stuff?
Well, dude, did you wear on the course?
Did I? Of course I was wearing Bird Dog's pants.
Dude, you have to. And honestly, like that's a great travel item as well.
It sure is. I wore it on the plane.
Right.
And then I had it for golf.
And you can wear it on stage.
Yes, you can. It's your one size fits all, one size looks all pant.
Yeah.
The Bird Dog's pant really is the most transportable pant that I've ever had.
Dude, it's great. It's just a wonderful product.
I wore it perfect fall day, October golf, great thing to, wearing pants.
Tossing that vortex 300 yards.
That's the gift you get if you
the
use
whizzing football.
promo code OOPS right now, birddogs.com. Go get some pants. Don't delay. Be like us. Be our friend.
Awesome.
All right. So just to finish this thought on these guys, I mean, if this sounds like something that should be obvious and doesn't seem weird to any of you, the reason it was so surprising to me was that because, for years, my first brush with fans was at Barstool, and there's definitely more of a disconnect, I would say, at Barstool between the personalities and the fans. And I think part of that is that the company's so enormous that you can't really create this sort of grassroots connection. You would run out of time. You could never cultivate those relationships. I mean, Dave has millions of followers. Big Cat has millions of listeners. And it's just, you have to maintain that distance. But so for me to experience that, a lot of our listeners, you guys out there are just like people that I would want to fucking hang out with and be friends with, was just the most wonderfully validating, uplifting thing. And all of this is to say that if you see either Julio or me on the road in your town and you want to invite us to come play golf, we'll come. We'll come. We'll pay our gas fee. We'll take you out, whatever. Comparing that to being holed up in some dark Holiday Inn room all day where you're just watching mindless TV and you're dragging yourself to their shell of a gym on the 4th floor and, it's eating terrible food. It was the first road weekend I've had as a comedian where I thought I did not sacrifice a whole lot to go on the road here.
Totally.
I was able to have my weekend and also perform at night.
Dude, 100%. And honestly, like I've been before COVID, when I was like on the road with Pete a lot, dude, like some of his fans would give him the weirdest shit. And it would just be like a Bible with like a bunch of shit. And like none of you guys would ever do that.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, now people are starting giving us
Julie's
Bibles.
gonna get Bibles.
No one's gonna give
everywhere
us
he goes.
Bibles. Maybe they'll do it as a joke. I don't know.
Yeah, same kind of phenomenon happened in Arlington too. I met some really great people there. Anyway, we've talked about all this, and we're excited as hell for our sold out shows in New York, and also we're going to be adding shows in cities wherever you guys are. So let us know for sure if you'd like us to come to your city, and we'll see if we can book something.
Dude, 100%. Another thing that I really liked about the Civil War Museum, one other thing that stuck out to me, when Lincoln made Grant the general of the Union Army, General McClellan was the main general or something before.
Yeah.
And the letter that he sent to him to tell him he was basically getting canned was amazing.
Well, part of that was because McClellan ran for president.
I think that happened after. But he did run for president.
Lincoln
1864, right?
Took away his
1865?
rank as a result of him running for president against him
Are you sure?
for re-election.
Are you sure? I don't
That's
think
how
so.
I read it in that museum, which
museum?
I did not know.
If, good,
So
Chris,
if I
you
had-
can somehow find, you might need to log on to, you might have to log on to JSTOR to get to get that one.
This was so, this was like the 50th little tiny
Yeah,
paragraph
there's
I
a lot of
read, at
blurbs.
which point my mind was kind of fried. So
Dude, you're probably right. But regardless of that, the letter said something along these lines, and this I think is paraphrased. It's a little different than what it said there, but it basically says something like, General McClellan or whatever, if you do not intend to use the army, I would like to borrow it for a time.
oh, wow.
That's so savage.
That's great.
That is fucking
That's
savage.
great.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Lincoln was pretty badass. He's sort of, I don't know, universally kind of recognized as our greatest president.
Right, I like.
It's him, FDR, and Washington.
Really?
Maybe? Or
Is
the-
that like the general consensus? That, I
or
mean, that
would
makes
even
sense
be
to
in
me.
the
I don't know.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know, but that sounds right to me. You know,
It's just hard to even imagine at this day and age somehow having a president that everybody in the country liked.
did everybody like him?
Well, I guess
Right.
not the Confederates.
Right.
But, historically,
Right.
both parties will look back on Lincoln as the great, as a
president. Right.
Yeah.
Hard to deny that.
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot to mention this, and I don't want to like backtrack and talk about Halloween, but a funny thing happened on Halloween that I wanted to mention.
Oh, good. No, it's fine to if something fun happened, I don't think it matters.
Okay. So
when.
yeah, I think it's I just didn't want to seem like okay. But I went to a party. What?
Sometimes when I say something that's not really that funny, but I say it in a way I'm just saying it to try to make these two laugh. And if I get anything out of either of them, especially Ryan, if he starts, because he's got a weird sense of humor. So the weird, I haven't quite put my finger on what it is that
about
gets him going, but once he gets going,
About old Ryan.
warms my soul.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
So I went to like Halloween parties, and Hillary was sort of the point person, specifically at the second one. And we went to a party. It was in Williamsburg, somebody's apartment, whatever. Some guy comes up to me, and he's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Hillary's boyfriend." And he's like, "No, dude, for Halloween." He's like, "You think?" He's like, "You think I'm that much of a savage?" And I'm just like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, totally sorry." Like, and I was Lil Young Big for Halloween, which people are like, "Oh, that's a cop out. You're just being yourself." But I would argue that it's actually not. It's actually kind of an amusing thing to be because A, I don't really do Lil Young Big anymore, so it's funny to kind of bring him back.
Yeah, that was
but
great.
also to people who don't know, I was saying I'm this rapper Lil Young Big, and they'd be like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I'd go, "He's kind of obscure, but like, look him up.
Yeah.
I think I nailed it."
Yeah.
And then I'd leave, and I don't know if they ever looked him up or not. But they probably would
Lil
be
Young
like,
Big
he looks exactly like him.
gained 6 Instagram followers that evening.
Lil Young Big actually did gain some followers, which reminded me that I hadn't talked about him in a while on this pod,
Yeah.
which shows me how many more listeners we've gotten because I did tag him, and then people were being like tagging their friends, being like, "What the fuck is this?" It's this rap character I used to do. If you guys don't know, if you're feeling frisky, look it up. But
Music's actually pretty solid.
pretty solid. I'd say
Walking to the
it's
club with the pants and
passable.
the dance and the pump of the pants and the pump of the pants.
You remember that one?
That's the only one I know.
You remember that one?
I posted something for Halloween with the help of young Ryan over here.
That was pretty good.
It was the idea was that I had answered the door for trick or treating in our building, wearing a bra, crotchless panties, and lipstick for children trick or treaters. And then I wrote an angry fake email from someone who was taking their kid around, knocked on our door and saw me handing out candy like this. I wrote that email from them to the board of our building. And I've done things like this before. It blows my mind, Julio. It blows my mind, the responses that I get when I do things like this. Because sometimes they're a little harder to know than others. But this one was super easy.
This one was
This
pretty
one
obvious.
was super easy, and I made it easy because I knew that what I was proposing was so fucked up that I didn't really want anyone I didn't want people calling the police. You know what I mean?
Are there any highlight responses?
Okay. There were probably, I don't know, there's 205 comments or something. I think there's about 10 to 20 of people being like, there's no way this isn't real. Like, or Jesus, man, like what a fucked up thing to do, you know? But here's the thing, right? There are a couple. There was one, and I'm going to have to paraphrase myself, but there was a woman, I think, that wrote a comment that was like, you know, I understand you're trying to be funny, but exposing yourself to young children isn't funny at all. This is really fucked up. Right?
Right.
Now, think about what she's doing, right? Which is she's acknowledging that I'm trying to be funny with the costume, but
Right.
she thinks it's real
Right.
because she thinks that I exposed myself. And 2, she thinks that by commenting on my Instagram, like this is fucked up, that she's done her job correcting a man, an adult man
Who belongs behind
who
bars.
answered the door of children trick-or-treating with his dick in their face. Lady, that's not enough. You need to call the police. If you truly believe that that post is sincere and that fake, you know, censorship that Ryan, you know, photoshopped together is actually my dick in the face of this kid, you got to do a lot more than
Agreed.
comment on the Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've not done your social duty.
It to me highlights sort of the hypocrisy of the online policing, which is that it's not very committed policing.
Right.
It's people who just want to
Conveniently.
write their little thing and then feel good as if, oh, I've chipped away at some of society's ills, but they're not actually going to do the work to
actually,
you know, at the very least, flag the post for Instagram. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. Dude, what I would say to that lady is we should get her address and we should send her some dad grass. Dude.
is that, you know what? That's a great
We could send her some
suggestion.
mom grass. They have mom grass as well.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Smokable CBD.
That's what it is.
What a wonderful thing.
Fantastically
I didn't even know
packaged.
it existed before this.
Yeah.
Before I got, and like Chris has sort of been like alluding to the fact that this exists, but it just wasn't sinking in for some reason to me. Like CBD in joint form
Mhm.
that you can then smoke like a joint that doesn't make you super duper high
No,
and make you double down on the fact that you think Francis is committing crimes in the
no,
community.
it doesn't send you down the river of anxiety. In fact, it gives you wings to hover above it, just like a drone. So we love this CBD, man. This has been a really cool addition to our lives. Big fan of the dad grass myself. The packaging, as I said, is
Great.
spectacular.
Low in THC, high in CBD. You can chill out and lighten up the old fashioned way.
Mm.
You know what I mean, dude? It's really great stuff. All dad grass products, federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the country. So right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/oops. Go to dadgrass.com/oops for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/oops.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, you know where Sierra is right now?
Where is she?
Trying on wedding dresses.
Wow. Wow.
She's very subtle about letting me know, though,
Well, then how do you know?
because she didn't want to tell me where she was going,
Oh,
and I had
is
to.
there some sort of good luck thing associated with that?
I mean, that's there. There's definitely this idea that I'm not supposed to see her in a wedding dress until
That's bad luck, right?
the day.
So
you
they
know,
say.
yeah. The other part of it is too. I mean, if she's looking at wedding dresses online, she doesn't even want me to come in
Oh,
to her
wow.
room.
Wow. That's fun, dude.
It is fun.
Fun.
It is fun. But this is my question for you. She sort of started asking me, is there any kind of dress that you might like to see me in? Or what, do you have any preferences? Not that she would abide by them,
Mhm.
but I think she just wants me to sort of weigh in. And I said, look, I don't know anything about wedding dresses. My thought to you would be like, I feel like in my mind, simple is my taste. Nothing with like crazy poofy boxy shit on the arms or
Mhm.
I don't know.
It shouldn't look like a Met Gala dress.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think simple and elegant is you know, but she's gonna know. And I trust her taste implicitly. And then I said, great. So that was that. And then she said, what are you gonna wear? And I was like, well, I'm gonna wear a suit, you know, keep it simple.
Mhm.
And I think she was expecting me to then say, what would you want me to wear? Because she had asked me that kind of.
Mhm.
And I was like, she was like, what color? And I was like, I don't know. Do you have preferences? And she was like, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. You know, based on what I get, then we'll have to find something that works together. And I was like, well, I'm just going to keep it really simple. It's probably going to be a blue suit, you know?
Mhm.
And she was like, she gave me a look as if to say, I'm going to have strong opinions
Okay.
on what you wear. Now, is she allowed to tell me what I get to wear to my own wedding?
I don't know what the rule is with that. I got to be honest, dude. I am already certain that I don't care at all. I would actually prefer to be told than to have to think about it
Well,
myself.
what if she said? What if Hillary or what if Hillary said like, I want you to wear a yellow suit because it goes really well with this spring themed wedding dress I've got.
So I got to be honest. First of all, I think Hill Dog is a very talented individual, and she has like a very high level of proficiency in a lot of things. One of
She
them.
also works in fashion, right?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Hasn't she?
Yes, but not like in design at all, ever.
Fair enough. I didn't mean to jump the gun on that,
It's
but
okay,
it's
it's okay.
I think she's got
She
an
used
eye
to-
for.
She used
this
to
stuff.
work in fashion, but not doing the fashion.
Okay.
However, she really has a very high proficiency for, vintage shopping and
Oh.
interior design. And I know that like everybody says their girlfriend's good at interior design. I truly objectively believe that my girlfriend has a higher level of proficiency than what the average median might be.
Yeah, I can vouch for that too. Their apartment is really well decorated
Thank you.
and appointed. Yeah.
So I believe that if she was telling me to do something, that it would be the right thing to do. I would prefer for her to do all my shopping, to dress me before I go out, and not have to think about it ever.
But dude, what
It's not the-
are we just like voodoo dolls? I mean,
I am a voodoo
at,
doll.
at our own weddings.
I am a voodoo.
Do we
doll.
have no say?
Dude, that's hilarious. Like I'm going up there to get myself a drink all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Are
Are we, she's in the back somewhere,
with
like
the fucking.
tightening the tie on the thing.
Dude, that reminds me of Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom, when the like young Maharaja has the voodoo doll of India, and he's sitting there like, no.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good shit. I mean, dude, so I'm very unparticular about this kind of stuff, and it's just my nature. And like Hillary's mom once said to me that I was smart for letting Hillary just do it. And I kind of just took the credit instead of being like, no, I just actually don't care at all. I was like, yeah, sometimes you pick your battles, I don't give a
So
fuck.
then, all right, this is a great point you bring up, which is, okay, if our response to everything, because it sounds like we have similar mentalities about this, Sierra's been bringing up, all sorts of questions about the wedding. She's looking at stuff, planning it, band, catering, all that shit. And my response routinely is, look, I just trust you. But the truth is, I just don't care. I really don't care. I mean, I trust her to the point where I have the luxury of not
Correct.
caring.
And that's what I was going to say. There's sort of a balance between how much do you have to care?
Well,
Because if she was going rogue, if she got fucking Papa Roach to perform at your wedding,
yeah,
that would be a problem.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that she's going to get a reasonable band. You know that you guys align enough that you can trust her to deal with it.
So
Because there is yeah.
is me saying as a response, I don't care, is that mean?
It can be. If you just don't care about your wedding, then yes. But you do care.
I care about my
course you care.
wedding.
Then-
I just don't care enough to talk for an hour with the wedding planner once a week about flower arrangements.
So I know that Hillary feels strongly, right? Therefore, if we were in a place of wedding planning, I would allow her. I was like, do it. No, it wouldn't be like whatever you want, but she didn't feel like doing it. That's a different story. Since I know she wants to do it, there's no need for me to be involved.
What should we do?
I'll tell you what I did, and this is funny. We were at a wedding together, and I looked at her and I said, you know what? I'm thinking that I actually have some pretty strong feelings about what I want my wedding to be like. And I started nodding my head and not flinching to fuck with her. And she goes, are you serious? That's what I did. I started pranking her, and I will continue to regularly.
Okay, got it. Well, that's nice.
And I forget what her grandma said, but she said something like fairly insulting after thinking that I was being serious about that.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Also, I forget specifically what it was, but she's like, what's he doing? No, she said, Hillary turned to her grandma and goes, did you hear what he just said? And told her, and she goes, get rid of him. Sure, she was joking, hopefully, but
I guess my question is, if I don't even feel like I'm a passenger in this van. I feel like I'm, riding in the trunk.
You have things going for you.
Well, what should I participate in? Is there anything I should take the reins on? Is there anything I should expect to have a strong opinion about?
So and I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag. We can cut this if this is an overshare. But since there was already sort of a beta version of what your wedding could be.
Not at all.
Right? It's going to be in the same place as your sister's, right? So you sort of know what that was like.
Yeah.
And you know what things you guys are going to do differently, whatever. So I think you're allowed to be in a place where you can let her do it until she's like, hey, what do you think about this? At what point you can put in your input.
What happens if we get to the wedding and, I don't know what it is. Maybe the drinks selection, the bar.
It just ends up being like
They're
a cash
serving
bar.
like it's like gin only drinks.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, what the fuck? How did this happen? What happens if I'm super, upset that something I missed slipped through the cracks because I didn't have any say on it?
There's a small risk for that, but you know that Sierra's not going to do that to you.
I just think it's all pretty basic. There's some really basic things that if you can afford them, you do.
Yeah.
You get a band. If you can't, you get a DJ. You get a caterer. You do a fish option and a meat option or a vegetarian option. People choose before. You do. It's like we're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
You can't really change from the rubric too much, despite the fact that has been a guiding principle of ours from the moment we got engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want it to be different.
Right.
And we want it to be unique. So
Okay.
how do you uniquify your wedding without missing things that people expect or rely upon when they go to a wedding?
So, dude, it's the same way you become a great artist. Okay? Hear me out.
Okay.
Even Picasso learned to master the conventional way that art is done. And with that knowledge, he then was able to take liberties with it. And I think the wedding planning goes the same way.
Mm.
You have the structural, strong foundation, the liberal arts wedding knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can take liberties with it beyond.
I think that's a great point.
Right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I just wish there were that I felt comfortable to say, we should do something instead of your traditional after party. Why don't we do like hot air balloon rides for everyone? Or like, let's bring out a fucking Komodo dragon. I don't know.
That's
Let's
fun.
get a petting zoo there. We talked about wanting to get a petting zoo. I think that'd be a great addition.
Totally.
My ideas though are so zany that I don't even know if they'll find any purchase whatsoever with the framework. But
Well, what else you got?
I don't know, man. Like the things I want, I don't know if they could even be part of a wedding.
But like what?
Like, what if we did a cigar rolling station, or if
That's
we
cool.
did some kind of a cliff jumping contest, or I haven't even really thought about it. I'd love it if the guys could wear something that was a little different than just blue suits.
So you are allowed to say these things. You're allowed to do this if you feel like it.
This is why I asked you this. I don't know what I'm allowed to do.
So, but you're allowed to at least and like say, hey, what do you think about this? You know, it's both your decision, but you're allowed to have the discussion if you feel like spending the time on it.
Yeah.
And if not, you know that she's going to do a great job.
The problem is, Julio, going into a discussion where I am pitching, you know, and the idea being that if she pushes back, but I still feel strongly about my point, I have the right to stand up for myself. It's very hard to enter into that knowing fundamentally I just don't care. How do you win an argument when you go into it knowing you don't care?
You don't care, but you do care a little. I think you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot.
I'm inventing things to care about.
No, but you're in a good spot. Like you're fine with how it's going to end up being, but you also like the idea of maybe adding some stuff to it. And you even said to me, you're feeling pretty creative these days. Maybe you will have some like hilarious, unique idea that will put your Francis stamp on the wedding. And maybe she'll think it's funny too. You both agree and you do it.
It'd be cool to have something funny.
I agree.
I think we need, given the comedy sort of hue that colors even so slightly the wedding, probably there's got to be something humorous, something comedic, not just in the speeches, you know.
No, totally.
And I wonder what that would be like. Maybe we should put like glory holes in the bathrooms, you know, or we could do like we could do one of those. You know when you go to like a country fair and they have the thing where you put your face through,
Yes.
and there could be like a painted thing,
That's
but it could be like
fantastic.
a big likeness of us,
That's
but
good.
the face is at the dick area, or I don't know. I don't even know what it would be, you know. So I don't know. That might be kind of funny.
like
Now
it.
we're starting to cook with some gas.
This is pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
This is a good little brainstorming sesh.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm like, you know what? Like the weddings of my youth, right? The first wedding that I ever went to, my cousin Edelweiss. I'll remember like it was yesterday.
Edelweiss?
Edelweiss. What's her name?
Her name?
Mm-hmm. Edelweiss.
Like the flower, the small and white, clean and bright
Correct.
flower
Correct.
from the hills
song.
of Switzerland, Austria?
Yes.
Austria.
Yes. Edelweiss.
What a song.
I know. Edelweiss.
Edelweiss,
So-
you look happy to greet. What a song.
So
Oh my
she's
God.
the first, really, of the cousins. She's the first one who kind of started a family.
Mhm.
Her and her husband. Her, you know, their daughters are like getting older. They're like teenagers now. It's crazy. Anyway, so her wedding was great, and I remember like I was a real ham. I was young. I was dancing it up, and it didn't matter, having a great time. And when you're a kid, when you order drinks at a wedding, you order, you know, a Shirley Temple, or you get a Roy Rogers, which is a Shirley Temple but with Coke, and it's like, whoa, that blows your mind. Or you go ahead and you crack open yourself a Stewart's.
Oh, you would do
A
that.
Stewart soda.
Yes.
So I got to be honest,
Root beer, cream soda, orange soda, some of the
oh,
classics.
some of the classics. And I think that perhaps I might pay homage to that by including some of Stewart's spiked seltzer in some of my wedding
That is a good addition
Whether
to a
it be
wedding.
for a bachelor party or for the wedding itself, just giving people a little, hey, remember those times?
Yeah. That's, you know, any wedding guest that sees Stewart's spiked seltzers at the bar is going to think, boy, this guy remembers the past and he honors the classy years of before.
Dude, it's really good stuff. I mean, 100 calories per can, 0 to 1 grams of sugar, 1 gram of carbs, gluten-free, vegan, all the good stuff, with classic flavors that you all know and love, with some, and as well as some contemporary flavors. They have the root beer, the orange cream, the black cherry, raspberry lime. People have been DMing me asking about where to find it. You can go on their website, stewartspike.com, and there's a store locator where you can kind of put in your zip code and stuff, figure out where it is near you. And you can also DM their Instagram at stewartspiked, and they will have all that information for you. At the current moment, is only available in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Colorado. But starting in next year, it will be available everywhere at some point early in 2022. Every state, everywhere. You can get in there and give it a try. We think you'll like it. We know we do.
Awesome.
My parents are meeting my girlfriend's parents tonight
What?
at my New York Comedy Festival show. Which, by the way, real quick, if you can't make it, if you're out of town or whatever, you can still buy the live streaming link. It's on the same link. It's in my bio to the New York Comedy Festival. It's the same as the in-person tickets. Grab a streaming ticket, buy one just to support the event. It's going to be really cool. But yeah, so, and I think there might be a couple tickets left if you want to come in person. Not totally sure about that.
You scared the pants off of me there because, everyone knows we record a couple days in advance of, and I thought, oh my God, have I not gotten the week right or the date right? Like, is the show tonight?
Right. No.
Because I'm coming. I'm very excited.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go. I didn't know you were coming.
No, we're coming. I've told you. Of course.
I know.
Of
but
course,
like,
I would
okay,
come.
I don't.
Of course, I would come. Hey, Chris, hand me that green box. I got something to show everybody. You know what this is?
I do.
So we talked on the podcast about how I wanted a treat. I thought I deserved. There's Ryan. See what I mean? I wanted a treat, and it was because I gave Sierra a treat, a fucking engagement ring. That's not a treat. That's a sundae, and I thought I deserved some kind of a treat. So I put out the bat signal. I put out the bat signal on Instagram. I said, "Hey everybody!" Some of you saw this story. I said something like, "Hey everybody, I want to watch. I've decided I want one. This is the type that I want, and who knows if I'll ever be able to get it." Got 100 DMs, 50 of which were guys saying, "Good luck. You're never going to get that. The wait list is 10 years long. I've been trying forever." Another 45 were people being like, "Well, my uncle has a booth on Canal Street who gets him through the gray market when, his Russian friends come into town. They'll bring you one. You have to pay double for what you would if you paid at retail, but they're real, they're good." And then I got about 5 from people who had connections to authorized Rolex dealers, including a wonderful fan and listener, Hannah. Shout out Hannah. She worked her butt off to try to sort it out. But, these things are just really tough, and the wait lists are hard, and I had no idea when it's going to happen. Also, shout out to Gerald Peters on Staten Island Rolex. They were working on it as well. But my main man, Scott Udell, not sure how he says it, Scott from London Jewelers out in Manhasset. They have a store here in New York City as well. Really hooked it up instantly.
Amazing.
And I got myself
the
Batman GMT Master 2. There it is. The Rolex, baby. I'm going to pop this on the wrist right now. I've already worn it a couple times, but I like keeping it in the box for some reason. Do you ever do that, by the way, when you get something nice?
Keep it in the packaging.
Keep it in the packaging?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So what do you think? What do you think? I got the watch that I wanted.
I'm happy for you, man. It's a good looking piece.
Is this a really garish thing to do? Am I being an asshole by talking about the Rolex I got?
No.
See how it's got the blue and the black?
I do.
That's why they call it the Batman.
I know. It's a good, dude. It's a good looking watch, man.
Chris, how do you feel about that?
Unbelievable.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shout out. I mean, it all happened because of the pod, and I'm so happy to be able to buy myself a nice watch. I am feeling good. I had to move some money around today to sort of pay a very hefty credit card bill. So the sort of, that's the chickens coming home to roost.
Yep, as they always do.
And they come home. They do come home to roost. They're hungry. Is roosting Are they eating when they roost?
I have no idea.
What does it mean when chickens roost?
It sounds like they're getting banged by roosters.
Are they sleeping?
They come home to get banged.
When they come home to roost, is that them sleeping? Is it laying eggs? It might be
getting banged, dude.
Getting banged by roosters. I don't know.
That was pretty terrible.
Pretty hoarse rooster there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good
Rest
call.
or sleep.
You called it.
Okay. Yeah. There was a great Peter, Paul, and Mary. Did you listen to folk music as a kid?
Sort of. Like whatever stuff was kind of like the hit songs of the era that my parents would have listened to, I would have heard, yes.
And so we were heavy on the Peter, Paul, and Mary, Raffi. Peter, Paul, and Mary had a great song about Fox went out on a chilly night, prayed for the Lord to give him light, and many a mile to go that night before he reached the town of and he goes,
I don't know if I know that.
follows this fox that goes into a farmer's chicken coop and brings all these chickens back to his den to eat with the kids. It's a pretty fucked up song.
Pretty fucked
But
up.
that's what I always think about is chickens getting pillaged and murdered by foxes. Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm happy for you that you were able to obtain the new piece. It was a bit of a journey.
It was so cool, man, how quickly people responded, how nice everyone was, and got to know some interesting people. And
Dude, so I was in the car driving back from Pennsylvania with the boys, a couple weeks ago, and I was telling them that you were considering going, you were thinking about the Pepsi one or the Batman one. And our pal Brent, who happens to be big into consumer goods, big watch guy.
Yeah.
He was going, the Batman's way sicker. Batman's way sicker.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad Brent likes my
prefers
choice.
it. The two guys who knew a lot about watches in the car both said they prefer the Batman.
Who is the other guy?
The Snyder, the guy, Big G, that guy.
Okay, yeah.
They both agreed with your line of thinking.
Love
there.
it. Well,
So, pretty
guys,
exciting.
it's the kind of thing where, hopefully the pot will grow to the point where we can all buy Batmans
That'll be
someday.
someday.
Okay, but speaking of moving money around, when you move money around online, are you just doing it with your regular browser?
Yeah, usually. You know what I mean?
That's a huge mistake.
I know they say it can be like sometimes you want to be a little more secretive about what you're doing, especially in sort of the crypto sphere or whatever.
Yeah, crypto, any of your DraftKings stuff, any of the
Right, gambling.
Yeah, moving stuff around. Most people think incognito mode
Right.
is the way to cover their tracks from any unwanted government oversight or
Right.
lurkers out there. But let me tell you something.
People snooping.
Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you've ever visited. That's why even when I'm at home, Julio, I never go online without using ExpressVPN.
Wow.
It's a virtual private network.
The old VPN.
Doesn't matter who your internet service provider is. ISPs in the U.S. legally sell your information to ad companies. This is why we get flooded with targeted ads, and we feel like our data is being sold, and it is. All this stuff with Facebook. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. I really don't. It runs seamlessly in the background and is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. It's available on all your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV, so there's no excuse for you not to be using it. By the way, my first encounter using ExpressVPN was in China.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to
'Cause you can't-
download.
yeah,
You
in
can't get
order
on
to use
Gmail. You
Facebook
can't
and
get
stuff,
Facebook.
yeah.
You can't get anything there. Twitter. So I used ExpressVPN and it was flawless.
That's
it was
crazy.
perfect.
That's crazy.
Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET. Visit my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/oops, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/oops, expressvpn.com/oops to learn more.
Well, dude, congrats. You feeling good? There's something about getting something super sick that you've always wanted that it really does make you feel good.
It's the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning.
It makes you feel good.
Wanting to get the ring on, or the watch on. I feel like Gollum, you know. My precious.
Dude, that's so funny. Still the scariest scene in movie history, potentially, when Bilbo sees my old ring.
Oh yeah,
And he
just
goes,
for a second. Yeah,
it's so fucking scary. Gets me every time.
It's really scary.
Gets me every time.
Yeah.
Dude, my equivalent of that is I've upgraded my Sky Miles card to the reserve.
Whoa.
That's my little treat to myself, dude.
Your Delta Sky Miles, you went to the reserve?
Yes, I accidentally sent it to my parents' house too, so now they have mailed it to me. So I'm hoping that it arrives. But I've been checking my mailbox every single day. Waiting for that puppy to arrive, dude.
So give me a 2-second rundown. I mean, are the fees a lot higher? Do you have an annual fee that's a lot higher?
It's higher. It's
But
double what the platinum is.
The idea is that, it'll pay for itself.
Dude, I honestly don't even know. I think I'm just addicted to the clout now, like the way they get you. Looking at your shit, your status. I want to You get a bunch of miles for signing up. You get a bunch of bullshit. You get to go in the lounge. You get lounge.
Do you
passes.
use the lounge when you go?
No, dude. But but I would if I had some time to kill, sure. But like, I don't like drinking in the airport. I don't like drinking on flights. You get free drinks here and there. They give you some vouchers, and then in the lounge, you obviously get free drinks. But dude, no, I don't use any of that shit. But I think that there's, of course not, dude.
Well, then the upgrade is pointless.
It is. It's pointless.
It's pointless, and in fact, it's not smart. Probably.
You're probably right. But it's fun, dude. Like it'll get me closer to getting better and better status. I've gotten addicted to being upgraded on all my flights. My status keeps increasing, and the fact that I've been traveling a shit ton during all this, I think all the status is rolling over again.
Do you only
I'm gonna be the
fly
man.
Delta?
No, not even. Which again makes it even more pointless.
Jesus.
But dude, it's just fun, dude. I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it.
No, that's cool. Listen,
This is
I
how
think
they
about
get you.
I hit my friends up. My friends research this shit all the time. And they are huge proponents of some of the cards that are not airline specific, but are better for travel benefits across the board.
Right. That makes sense.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, that would make more sense for me for sure.
Yeah.
I need to talk to them.
And
about
these credit cards, they come with this huge list of benefits, that are so I said to my friends, I was like, well, do those apply automatically?
No.
Or do you have to, trigger them?
So I'll periodically just look at the offers, and I'll just you can add as many of them as you want. And I'll usually just add the ones that I might use. And then I'm pleasantly surprised when I get an email that's like, you just saved $20 because I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, whatever."
This is my problem is that all the benefits would go unused, which means that the card would not pay for itself.
Correct. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't. I just feel like it's a flex. And actually the other weekend I was with some buddies, and a couple of them pulled the reserve out, and I pulled out my fucking step below the reserve, and I just felt like I felt like a turkey, dude.
But this is how they get you.
Exactly.
This is exactly why credit card companies make cards that look like, fucking gold medallions that'll unlock a vault or something.
Dude, it's ridiculous, but I'm still pumped for it to fucking come.
Golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Dude, somebody asked me this question.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think this is a good pod topic. And I think they're right. We may have sort of covered it, but what is the rules for drinking in the airport as far as time of day? Is the airport a time vacuum, and therefore is any time of the day acceptable to be having a drink in the airport or not?
I'm too aware of the signs. I can't do it.
The science?
The signs that flights dehydrate you.
I agree. Yeah. I hate it.
I can't do it. The only time I will ever drink at an airport is if I'm heading into an overnight flight. Overseas, and I have to sleep.
Oh, the drink will get you?
I'll have a glass of red wine.
With your meal on the flight?
No, I'll have it
Before.
probably before.
Yeah, I do not like drinking on the flight for the reason that you just stated. When I wake up hungover, I wake up double hungover, and that feels like shit.
Yeah.
And I don't like drinking in the airport. However, I have friends that love drinking in the airport.
Me too.
And they get there at 9 a.m. and think it's okay to order a cocktail.
It's insane. It's insane.
It's a
Yet,
casino with natural light.
I arrive at a golf course at 8:30, and all of a sudden I think it's apropos for me to order a cocktail.
Before you start?
Yeah.
Whoa. So
That is
8:30 in the morning.
I will have a drink at this is newer, by the way. This is a newer thing.
Newer.
But you go out for a day of golf with your buddies. It's the time where it's I will have a drink at 9 a.m.
So I want to ask you about this because I remember your girlfriend was out of town, your fiance, sorry, was out of town, your wife-elect, and one of your good buddies who I know, his girl was with her and they were out of town, and you guys have a good tradition of a couple of days on the course. You usually have a few cockersons.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I don't think I ever heard how that ended up playing out. Were you guys able to accomplish your objectives?
We did, man. We played 60 holes of golf.
That's insane.
The day our wags, wives and girlfriends, our wives and girlfriends were away on the same weekend, and we both thought, this is a lunar eclipse. This will happen once every 10 years or whatever, and we have to take full advantage.
60 holes in 2 days?
We played 36 holes. We played 18 and then 18 in Long Island on Saturday. Full day. Probably had 20 cocktails each. And then we both came home shattered and went to bed, and then woke up at 7:30 the next morning and went to my course in New Jersey and played 18. And then we had a little bit of time remaining, and we were like, let's just keep playing. And so we just grabbed our bags and went out for an additional, I guess we played 6 more holes and accomplished our objective of getting to a nice round number, because we did 24 the second day, 36 the first day, which got us to 60 holes.
Dude,
for the
this is like an
weekend.
LSAT problem.
and we both
How many drinks per hole did Francis and his friend average?
Dude, we both got home before our wives and girlfriends.
Unbelievable.
And so they were none the
Perfectly
wiser.
executed.
They were none the wiser. And we got home. They were like, how was your weekend? We were like, played a little golf. Little did they know we were fucking sprinting around, trying to just get in as much as we possibly could. We're losing daylight.
Dude, that's crazy.
So
I
it
love
was
that.
really fun. We had a blast.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, I want to go back to this topic. My parents are meeting my girlfriend's parents.
Yeah, they are.
For the first time. It's going to be at the show tonight.
Are you nervous?
Kinda.
Who do you think is more likely to? This may be too personal.
No,
of a
it's okay.
question.
Who's more likely to be embarrassing? Is that what the question's going to be?
To leave the other side with a slightly negative opinion?
Oh man. See,
And if
okay,
that's
so
too weird of a question, I
no, it's not.
apologize.
It's not. So my parents are really lovely people. You've met them. They're really nice.
They truly are.
My mom's
That's no
super
joke.
sweet.
I wouldn't. If I didn't think that, I just wouldn't say anything.
They're cool.
They're really nice.
My mom is a good listener. She has a great sense of humor. She thinks stuff's hilarious. And my dad's a funny guy too. But I would say that of the 4 of them, my dad is the most likely to do something that would leave anyone with a bad taste in their mouth. He is unlikely to, but he is the most likely to.
That's great.
For sure.
That's a really good answer. Big G. Yeah.
Her dad is really, really good socially. Her mom is too. I would say my mom is too. My dad is too. But my dad, I still think, would be the most likely
That's great.
to. But yeah, so they keep my parents kind of, cutely. I think maybe my parents are a little nervous. I think they want to make a good impression. They're kind of wondering. My dad was like, so we're like, what do you think? Are they going to want to hang out after? He's like, because it's going to be pretty late. I'm like, I don't think so, Dad. I think you guys probably will both tap out at the end of the show, most likely. This would be a nice way to sort of, and to be honest, anytime I have the instinct to be worried that my parents are going to do something embarrassing, which I don't have to have that fear.
Mhm.
But if I'm being overly cautious for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, are they gonna? I immediately am like, you know what? They're my parents. I'm in their corner first. So I'm not that concerned about what they do. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. If they act a little weirdly, that's okay. And whatever.
But you also have the benefit of knowing that her parents are people that have are tolerant.
They really are.
They're tolerant people.
They're
which
really
means
supportive people too.
Even if something weird happened, it's not as if it's going. The odds of there being a yelling match between the parents are zero.
Close to zero. And to give you an idea of what kind of family her family is, they are very they'll give you the benefit of the doubt type of people. So if I'm doing something, they're super supportive. Like, for example, if I put something out, and who knows, I might be completely wrong about this. They might be so skilled at this that I just have no idea. But it's the type of people that I know that they're going to be like, oh, that was awesome. They'll be more likely to do that as opposed to being nitpicky and critical or be like, I thought that was cringe. They're not cynical like that. I don't know how to explain it.
No, that's really nice.
To the point where even Ricky's had to put a special out on HBO, which you guys should watch if you haven't. When we all did a show in Chicago, me, Ricky, Pete, that whole group, when we were on that tour or whatever, we did a show in Chicago. They all came. And now everybody has watched Ricky's special.
Oh, that's awesome.
All of them. And everyone's like, we watched Ricky's special. And I didn't even have to be like, what did you think of it? Because I knew they thought it was awesome if they didn't already say it was awesome. And they did say it was awesome.
That's great.
So they're good. And I think that they will give my parents the benefit of the doubt, especially out of the gate. who knows, as the years go on, maybe they'll develop some disdain for each other. I find it very unlikely, but I think that I think they'll get along nicely.
Got it. That's really nice.
Yeah. They're able to sort of adjust to each other, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say my dad is the most likely to make a bad impression, even though he will not. And I think he's very charming, lovely, but he, I think, is the least able of the four of them to tailor his behavior to a new situation. If that makes sense. He can't put himself away. He can't do it. You know, like if there's food there, mustard may get on his shirt immediately.
Yeah, good.
That could happen. You know, he's himself. He's the man.
Yeah.
So I love him. I think it'll be a good time.
Might have to bring an extra cheesecake to the show.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
We were thinking that could be a fun thing to give away, maybe at live shows.
Yeah.
We've been playing around with some ideas. We're going to have
yeah.
some good stuff for you guys for sure. So I think about this sometimes, and this is a convenient sort of subject for what we're about to talk about as well. But I hear like people whose families have like a shit ton of money being like, you almost get this feeling when they're talking that like they're excited for their parents to die because they're going to make money. It's almost like it's this like silver lining that's almost not a silver lining. It's like a gold lining.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the lining. Them being alive is the silver lining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I never have once been like, what am I going to get when my parents pass away?
It's a horrible thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but you know, there is apparently Hillary was telling me there's this book about like normalizing death.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like getting you to sort of do the things that you should be doing when you're younger to prepare for when that day finally comes.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And sort of so that when that happens, you're not a chicken running around with its head cut off and you're like, you have your ducks in a row essentially to deal with it. So I have sort of been toying around with the idea of getting a life insurance policy.
Oh.
Have you thought about any of this shit yet?
You know, I have not, but I have sort of set up where my assets will go if I were to die.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, but I should do life insurance too.
Yeah, for me, I might just have to be like, here are my passwords.
At this point,
it's all you, buddy.
It feels irresponsible of me at this point in my life not to have life insurance.
I agree, dude. So I'm going to start kicking around some Policygenius.
Yeah,
that's
the easiest way to do it.
One of our sponsors. It's a very, very easy way to find your own policy for yourself. It's an online marketplace, and the agents are working for you. They are not working for the insurance companies. There are over a dozen top insurers, and you could save over 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes of Policygenius. You could save $1,300 or more per year on life insurance by using Policygenius to compare policies. And eligible applicants can get covered in as little as a week thanks to an award-winning policy option that swaps the standard medical exam requirement for a simple phone call. Pretty big breakthrough as far as avoiding annoying stuff goes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The exclusive policy was recently rated #1 by Forbes Advisor, higher than options from Ladder, Ethos, and Bestow. Getting started is easy. Just head to policygenius.com. Minutes you can work out how much life insurance coverage you need and compare personalized quotes to find your best price. Head to policygenius.com to get started right now.
I thought of a really good Halloween costume for next year.
What is it?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
John Bon Jokovic.
Oh my God. Dude.
A cross between John Bon Jovi and Novak Djokovic. I would wear a tennis racket on a strap like a guitar. I'd have
funny.
Headband, like a tennis headband, but with like a feathered bangs, wig kind of deal. Rocker outfit, but also sort of tennis.
A Lacoste shirt, a fitted Lacoste shirt with a serpent on it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's funny.
John Bon Jokovic.
I think this is maybe the best time in history to have an obscure costume because you can show your costume and then it's socially acceptable to do a photo dump explaining how you came to
Totally.
be that. Like, I saw people who were like, I'm Grimes in 2018 at the Met Gala. And you're like, what? And then you're able to scroll and see.
Oh, you are. Yes, you are.
Most, here's another great example. And by the way, this is my favorite Halloween costume I've ever seen. I actually attempted to do a post like this once, and this one put me to shame. But Rihanna was one of my favorite rappers, Gunna, for Halloween.
Oh, that's so cool.
And if she wasn't able to show the comparison pictures on her Instagram, it wouldn't have landed like it did. But dude, this is the funniest Probably the funniest Halloween costume I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you right now.
I saw it.
Oh,
I saw it. You
Dude,
posted it on your story. Yeah.
perfect. She got the exact outfit. She did the exact poses, and it captured how absurd of a thing that it is what he does. It was really fucking funny. Dude, I have like funny Halloween memories. When I was a kid, I was in a store the day of Halloween, and I looked at one of the guys working, and I like looked at him. I must have been 6. I was like, what are you being for Halloween? And the guy was like, I'm going to be working. My parents love to remind me of that story, but it's
great.
pretty good.
You got any emails for
Yeah,
us?
let's do an email before we get out of here.
Nice.
So we actually have a sugar daddy update.
Oh,
That ended
did
up-
I tell you I met the lady?
So you did, but I actually didn't understand that until we were reading this email because you said the Hinge person. I forgot that she had met him on Hinge.
I don't even remember
forget, but
exactly.
yeah.
It was a Hinge date, I guess,
Okay,
that turned into
yes, that makes sense. Yes, you did, and you showed me a picture.
yeah.
Crazy.
She
Nice
came to
full
the
circle
show.
moment.
She came to the show with a date,
Wow.
and she started telling me the story in front of him,
Oh,
and I almost wanted to be like, "Shh, what are you doing?
what are you doing?
He's right here." But it wasn't that guy.
Right.
But even then, I was like,
yeah, it's like
maybe
this is an
no.
early date. Maybe that's very funny.
But-
but anyway, this ended up being a surprisingly popular story. We got a lot of feedback about it.
Oh, cool.
So I thought that even though this update isn't, the most crazy thing in the world, I think people want to hear what she had to say. So
Great.
it's called Hinge Date. Yeah, exactly. In the subject line, Hinge Date turned Sugar Daddy update. Hi again. Honestly, I think the best thing to come out of this situation was making it on the pod.
Oh,
So thanks for reading. Unfortunately, I didn't secure any gifts for you guys, but I do have an update for you.
damn it.
As Julio had guessed, thank you very much, I was not equipped to go all in and negotiate the boundaries and terms necessary for a true sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship with this guy. I realized none of the gifts were worth it because although he said he was fine with just being friends, I knew his end goal was a romantic relationship with me. I decided to end things shortly after sending my last email, but was planning on waiting until after his birthday weekend because I felt bad for the guy. He had invited me and a few of my friends to a hockey game and paid for all our tickets. The game was fun and we met his other, quote, friends who were actually pretty cool people, but also seemed like they maybe were there only for the free tickets. Fast forward to Monday and my friend did something to piss him off and he was pretty rude to her. By the way, that's again, because he had done this before. This is a side note. But anyway, I was going to use the way he handled things in that situation as an excuse to end things, but he beat me to it. I noticed he had unfollowed me on Instagram, so I called him out on it. He said my friend, quote, did him quite dirty and that he couldn't keep seeing me only as a friend because he had, quote, caught feelings. I told him how immaturely I felt he handled the situation, but that I would respect his decision, and he never responded. All in all, I can't complain with how things went because in the end, I didn't even have to be the bad guy, and now I have an insane story to tell. P.S. Francis, great Richmond show. Sorry, we had to dip before I could finish the rest of the story. Great meeting.
Yeah. All right. All's well that ends well.
There it is.
That actually ended quite peacefully.
Right?
I'm happy to hear that. So I thought that they were headed for some sort of Hindenburg conflagration. There's your word
Wow.
of the day.
Late in the game, Francis comes up.
Conflagration.
The half-court shot.
My guess for the
conflagration.
definition of that word is like a fiery eruption or a total all-encompassing fire. CONFLAGRATION. That's your word. What do you got?
An extensive fire which destroys a great deal of land or property.
Pretty solid.
My grasp of the English language is pretty impressive.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I promise you I don't look up these words right before the podcast.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
You pulled that one out real nicely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Our live shows are sold out for now. But everybody who's coming to those shows, we're gonna have some cool merch. That we actually are gonna. One of us is gonna wear some of it on the next episode of this. On Thursday.
If you want merch, you better come to the live shows.
You guys will get a taste
it's
of
the
that.
only place.
It's a pretty fun little take on
Until we don't sell enough, at which point we'll post it online.
some of our old jokes and moments combined in one as a nice piece of merch. We're going to be announcing some more dates. Thank you to everybody who came to my show tonight at the New York Comedy Festival. Very dope of you. And buy some tickets for the live stream if you have not. And I think that's it. Oops the podcast. Send us your emails, oopspodcast@gmail.com. And that's all. Goodbye.